Hello, I am Mike of Nearly Enough Dice. This is the Kerbal Space Program. Discovery 1 is in a fairly eccentric orbit of the Mun at the minute, but I need to go and fetch Valentina Kerbin from that capsule because there is no actual re-entry module on that capsule. So I need to send something up to go and fetch her. And what I am choosing to set up is my single stage to orbit rocket. It's not my single stage to orbit rocket, to be perfectly honest. I got it off a guy off Reddit, and they very nicely put that information out there and put this craft out there, and it works really nicely. So I just slapped Kerbal on it and said, "Go to orbit, please," and off it went. And so it made itself a really, really nice circular 100-kilometer orbit, which is going to be nice and easy, I hope, for Discovery 1 to rendezvous with. So having achieved that, let's go have a look at Discovery 1 around the Mun. First thing I really need to do is circularize the orbit, because I'm going to be using Kerb's return from Mun function, and to do that it likes to have a nice circular orbit. There was a bit of confusion because I actually hadn't switched over to Discovery 1 right away. I was still attached to the single stage to orbit rocket, and I didn't understand why I wasn't actually properly circularizing, when it turned out what was actually happening was that I was actually circularizing the already circularized single stage to orbit rocket. So I circularize at the apoapsis because that's going to give me a big nice circular orbit, and that's going to be much less delta V to do because it's cheaper to do from the apoapsis. And then I set up to go back to Kerbin. Now I play around with the orbit a bit, and I probably could have gone straight to a 100-kilometer orbit, but I suddenly decided that I should be able to do straight to rendezvous. So basically I've set up my orbit and I'm just clicked, do the rendezvous. And I'm beginning to think that was actually a bit of a bad idea, because obviously when you're coming back from the Mun to Kerbin, your orbital velocity is really rather enormous, and it then had to correct that enormous velocity when it was trying to match orbits, and I just ended up going straight past because it was like a 5-minute burn, which, given my computer's frame rate at the time, translated to like 10 minutes. And so I just went straight past and completely missed that orbit. It ended up something really wacky. So then I just did the same simple thing, which was circularize and then rerun that rendezvous script. And I got, within a kilometer, easy peasy, at which point I sent out Valentina. Getting across from Discovery 1 to the single stage to orbit rocket wasn't that difficult at all. I actually turned off the GUI partway through. Originally it was just to make for a pretty picture, but I noticed that I could see the craft a lot easier without that marker on top of it, which, telling me useful things like how far away it was, but it was mostly getting in the way of seeing exactly where the thing was. It was much easier to gauge how quickly I was approaching, when to stop, that kind of thing, without the GUI in the way, so that was quite cool and fun. I also switched to first-person mode using the camera tools mod, and that made it much, much easier to gauge how fast I was approaching and all that kind of stuff. And specifically I wanted to aim directly for the hatch on the side of the command module, and going into first-person mode made life a lot easier for that. But in the end it was a nice simple EVA, and now it's just the last stage, which is actually landing. Mostly the landing went pretty smoothly. Well, the first part did anyway. I used the landing guide from Kerbal, and I'd had some problems with it before, where it would suddenly try and overcorrect the landing point, and so in fact the orbit would just get really, really crazy. But it didn't do it this time. It actually managed to move everything to where I wanted it to be. Everything looked just fine. There was a long period where we were just heading backwards and I was waiting for it to do a final burn. But then all of a sudden the rocket flipped entirely over, and I spent an awful lot of the rest of the way down on fire, moving sideways or backwards, none of which was particularly good.
So I don't think we're going to be landing conveniently on where I want to land. We're looking really quite close to the ground now. Although we're not, we're still 25 kilometers up. I was hoping that the air brakes would enable us to point the opposite direction. As in, point towards where I suspect where it's wanted that we point, but we don't have enough control authority. I don't have any RCS on this. And it's not going to let me turn on SAS. So we're currently going sideways. I don't know if it was intended that we go sideways. We'll be killing a lot of velocity, but we're also getting fair numbers of G-forces as well, which is not the best. 40 seconds to land, allegedly. We're pointing the wrong bloody way. This could end badly. Even Valentina's looking a tad concerned. So we're going to be quite a lot short. Although we are coming out of being on fire, which is good. But I still cannot point the way I want to point. Right, we're 12 kilometers up. At this stage, I honestly, landing at the KSC would have been nice. Right, we are on fire and nothing exploded. We're no longer on fire and nothing has exploded. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's great. Oh, we do have some RCS on this craft. Okay. Right, so we are now beginning to point to where the game would like us to have pointed in the first place. Or at least vaguely. And now we're not again. So RCS is busily RCSing. I'm going to run out very soon though. I'm beginning to wonder whether I should deploy the parachutes regardless of what it thinks we should be doing. Right, we're now out of RCS. Right, these are the drogue chutes, which may or may not just get torn off. But the whole point of drogue chutes is that they don't get torn off, is that they're quite strong. Because our altitude, because we're in the mountains, so our altitude is not... Oh, we desperately need to be pointing the right way. It's trying very hard to move our pitch and yaw to the correct place, and it's not happening. But I'm going to have to start thinking about deploying my actual parachutes. In fact, I might as well deploy our actual parachutes. I actually don't know which direction we're going. This is a good thing that parachutes do not, in fact, work the way that they don't actually use actual bits of string and stuff like that. Because I suspect we'd have gotten very tangled. But it's going to be, well, I mean, we were certainly going slow enough that the parachutes could have worked. Right, so we're slow enough that the parachutes could work. And they're going to deploy at about 2K above the ground, which is coming up dead soon. Well, in this case, 2K above the water, I suspect. Looks like we're coming down underwater. So this is not the most successful. Well, you know, it's going to be one of those good landings that you can walk away from. It's not going to be a nice landing where I was going to land directly at the KSC, which is what I would have liked, because that would have been quite a nice ending. I don't know what that noise was, and something happened. So it's decelerating to bring us down to a slower amount of speed, but the parachutes haven't actually fully deployed yet, so I'm not too worried. There are some which are set to deploy at 2K. There are some which are set to deploy at 1K, and we should be fine. We're going to be splashing down. It's all good. So we're coming currently down at 26 meters a second, but we're about to. So I'm going to speed up a little bit. And basically stop speeding up now. So when the parachutes go, I'm not speeding up. I don't think I need to. I think I'm just being overly cautious. But this is one of those situations where I think I'd rather be overly cautious. Those chutes should be opening up fully. Are they as open as they're getting? Looking at given that my altitude above the train is 800 odd meters, and my altitude is 2,000 odd meters, I think I might not be in fact landing in the ocean, unless there's a high lake up here somewhere or something. But I'm landing on something, I don't know what, because I'm landing in the dark, as I always do, because I'm an idiot. But we're coming down about. I'm not sure these parachutes are fully deployed, but or are they? I'm just not sure. Well, it looks like, with the exception of a certain amount of, it's just adding. It's slowing us down with little bursts of engine. Getting lower and lower and lower and lower. I still have no idea what's beneath me because I don't have lights and I don't have daytime. Bring on planet shine a bit. Can I don't think. That's not helping. Nope, can't help. We're 400 meters away from the surface. Whatever the surface is, we're under 400 meters away from it. We're coming down at about 9 meters a second, which is okay. I mean, we might break the landing legs, but I don't really care about them. We're quite a distance away from KSC. I really don't care, about 80 kilometers away from KSC. I don't care. Had we not flipped out, we probably would have been alright. I wonder if we were coming in too steep for the stability of this particular rocket. Easily burning a small amount of fuel. Don't know why. I don't think it's helping that much. 300 meters. I have no idea what's beneath us. Looks like water. I don't know if there are any high lakes in this game. I guess we're going to have to find out one way or the other. So all the parachutes are green, which I think means they're fully deployed. And we're just gently falling to the ground. 200 meters to go. Ooh. I thought I saw something underneath us. Still very dark, because I'm an idiot. We're up in the highlands somewhere. 150 meters. Getting there, getting there, getting there. Although the final descent is different from the altitude terrain. That's quite interesting. Those aren't quite matching up to one another. Yeah, there's very things. I don't know if it would have deployed the parachute at the right time. I got scared and I deployed them when I felt like it. Okay, we're so coming down to the final few tens of meters. So it's 30, according to the 30 final descent. So I suspect what it's actually now delivered, specifically trying to get the velocity. Whoa! Down to half a meter a second, which is the touchdown speed. And whatever the hell we've landed on it. All right, it's a bit of highlands. It's a bit of landscape. Well, we have survived. And we're going to recover. We're going to quick save. It's been a long time since I've had a crash on recovering the vessel, but we're gonna. Ooh, things are running very slowly all of a sudden. We're going to quick save, and then we're going to recover the vessel just in case. There's really not going to be that much science gained out of this because I didn't do that many scientific experiments because I didn't have the Delta V to go anywhere particularly interesting and stuff like that. But we have got Valentina back home, which is the main thing. We have lost our scientist, but then she has become the Star Jeb. And so have we, in that sense, really lost her? I don't think we have. I think we have not so much lost a Kerbal as gained a Star Jeb. Now, just waiting for the KFC to load back up again. We got 0 science, obviously, because it's all been converted into money. But I would have been 201 science. Didn't really get that much. Kind of shocking. You would have thought you'd be able to get more than that. Recovered parts. That's the SS, the single stage to orbit. That's all that is. And Valentinacum has got 9 XP, but has not in fact gone up a level. You'd have thought. I've been to Jool and back. But apparently that's only 9 XP. But she's got 9 XP. That's sweet.
It was at this point that the recording actually stopped. The audio kept going, but the video froze. Don't know why. Never mind. That's us back. Valentina has survived. Gone to Jool and back. Got 9 XP. Done. Dusted, finished. So, thanks very much for watching. Do hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. Come visit nearlyofdice at nearlyofdice.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. And until next time, reach for the stars and try and get everyone back.